Okay, we will go ahead and get started. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. It's a very exciting training. As you know, this is a very exciting line. It's not very often in this industry that we get a line that comes along that takes off and is just shot out like it's shot out of a cannon, like Cicada has been. So we're very excited to have Marty Deane with us from Cicada. He's the director of sales and product development. He's very knowledgeable with the product. He's not only a sales rep for them, but he's also a user of their products in his own motorcycle. So I'm very excited to get this started. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Marty Deane.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys taking the time today to kind of bear with me through this next hour. I wanted to kind of go through some of the current platform of products that we have so that for those of you guys that have used our stuff over the last 2 years, this might be a little bit of a refresher. But for those of you who are new to the brand, maybe there's some things that you'll pick up or see that you didn't know. Again, for those guys on the call here that are veterans of our brand, I'm not going to read through a line by line literature training. I don't do it. You guys can read, and if you need more information beyond some high level viewing, you can go to our website and kind of look at some specific specs and such. So with that, thanks Davis Distribution and High Point Sales for putting this on today. We appreciate you guys kind of stepping up. For those of you guys who don't know who we are and what we do, I want to do the short cliff notes of this. Everyone here at Cicada comes from some realm of either car stereo, longer the term than that. We've got bike professionals here. I come from car stereo of about 30 years, owned a retail store, installed and sold high-end luxury car installation products for many years. And so my transition to the manufacturing side, what I brought with me was the ability to see a product and to really make sure that we're building the right SKUs that really fit the applications.
Free parking all the way at the end.
If you get there early enough, yeah, there is free.
Someone's got to mute there, please. So with that, we bring to you kind of the lineup. So when you call here for tech support, you either get myself, Justin, Forrest, or Sean, and all of us really are well versed in all of what we sell. And so it doesn't really matter who you talk to. One may have better information over a specific question you have or the other, but we all collaborate on that on a daily basis to make sure everyone's kind of up to speed. So you guys know who we are and where we come from. I want to start with just our CXX line. So this is our waterproof coax line. And why this category was unique is that, the motorcycle environment, it has all these issues. You've got weather, you've got vibration, you've got heat, potentially sand, snow if your bike sits outside in the winter uncovered. So this is our coax line that is a full waterproof solution for those applications, for those extreme riders who just say, hey, bike gets wet, wash the bike, etc. So one of the things that you'll see through here now is we've got kind of a little larger collection. Again, you veterans of the line will start to see this section of our line has grown. Most recently, the 8-inch. This speaker system was only available in a 5 1/4, a 6.5, and a 6x9. Earlier this year, we introduced the CXX8. That's a great fit for aftermarket lids, a lot of aftermarket lowers. Some guys are building these 8-inch upper fairing pods, and this is a great fit for them. Not overly deep and a full waterproof solution. The 6.5s and the 8s come with grills in the box. And it's a great way for that speaker to be used in some other categories. If you guys have other clients, boats, RVs, golf carts, etc., this is a great speaker for those applications. Not real high power handling requirement. And you have opportunities with the grills to customize them, etc. So it's just kind of a well-rounded line. What's coming, you guys notice here on this slide, is the CXX4. This is brand new. This should be here, I'm hoping, in 60 days or so. And This is the new 4-inch. Same build properties as the rest of the line, full waterproof 4-inch coax. So this is really going to give us the best sound possible out of a 4. It's fully waterproof, has the same Kevlar cone as the rest of the line, and is good power handling at 75 watt RMS, 150 peak power. So this is an early production sample. You can kind of see some of the specs on the screen, but look for this coming here in the next like 60 days or so ish. So, but guys who are doing gold wings, this is a great fit for that. So we see a lot of guys that use this. They were asking for 4s for some unique applications. So look out for this one coming soon. And then, of course, with CVOs, we can't leave those guys out. You know, a lot of times your customers are coming in with just blown speakers. And they say, I don't want to do an amp and all the things required in order to upgrade my system, but I really hate the way that these blown factory speakers sound. So with the CXX57, it is essentially a drop-in replacement. You've got plug-and-play capabilities, uses the high pass and low pass of the boom system, directly plugs in, and it bolts in. There's some minor cutting required to get it to mount flush. This has an external crossover pack on the side, so typically you have to cut that basket that's underneath that factory 5x7. So short of some minor cutting, this is probably the most direct replacement speaker for that category. Again, decent power handling. This speaker comes in 2 ohm and 4 ohm like the rest of the CXX line, since a 2 ohm speaker is what's factory on that CVO. So you have kind of options there if you're going to do aftermarket amps or your factory boom system in those bikes. So that kind of rounds out the CXX line. So you've got 6 different speaker sizes, pretty much covers every opportunity there you have. And it gives the rider a sense of, I don't care, it sits outside, I'll deal with it. And a great performer as well. So from there, we got some guys that say, listen, you know, I want to be able to hear my bike at 200 miles an hour, and I need the compression horn technology that kind of allows them to do that. And with that is our CH line. Now, the CH line started us on the path here with Cicada. This was one of Larry Frederick's first products. Started as just a simple 6.5-inch pro driver, and I don't have one, unfortunately, in front of me, but the standard 6.5-inch compression horn is really what kind of launched us into the motorcycle category. So you can kind of see it looks essentially untouched from day one. We changed a few things in the basket and have kind of tweaked it over the last 2 years, but it's still to the core a paper waterproof treated compression horn driver. As it line grew, of course, we have to have a 6x9. 6x9 in its first version was not a waterproof driver, but we felt because that speaker possibly could be exposed to rain, you know, it's mounted facing up, you know, that speaker's mounted in the lid. So because it's facing the sky, we wanted to make sure that we gave that rider the ability to not worry about those as well. So the 6x9 got upgraded with that nano frame cover and a waterproof boot at the base of the compression horn trumpet, and improved waterproof response on the paper cone. So the 8-inch was no different. We see a lot of these in lids. So again, we wanted to make sure that that 8-inch had the same treatment as a 6x9, where the 6.5s typically mounted behind a factory grill don't really see that much water. So we haven't had really any issues or need to change from its original design. So from there, really next level. You know, sometimes there's just never enough for some of these high horsepower, high performance customers that say, listen, money's not my problem. I really want a performing the best you can give me driver. So our next level performance brought us to CHX. CHX really started with a single speaker here. It just had a 5 1/4. So really it was kind of left in no man's land on its own as a 5 1/4 replacement for those older 98 to 13 bikes. And over the last 2 years, we've kind of added some friends. We added a 6.5 2 years ago. It went to a shallow basket design. This really allowed it to fit in 90% of applications. There's no modification to those road glide upper pods, street glides. It never was a problem, but they drop in, including the brand new 23.5, 24 to 25 new bikes. So that 6.5 is a ½ inch shallower than the CH in the slides before. This line incorporates full waterproof technology. You'll notice the nanofram over the tweeter opening, and again, it has that waterproof boot where the cone meets the pole of the compression horn. Available in a 5 1/4, 6.5. The 8 and the 6x9 are high horsepower. You know, that 6x9 and that 8 share the same motor. It's a 2.5-inch voice coil on those drivers. You don't find that size voice coil sometimes on a 10-inch subwoofer for you guys that are, you know, installing car audio. You don't typically find that in your average 10. The tweeter is gigantic as well. It's a 1.75. This gives us this high horsepower handling of 400 watt RMS and 800 watt peak power handling. They don't fit everywhere. Sometimes the mounting depth can be prohibitive in some aftermarket lids. The 6x9s fit no problem in most, including our aftermarket cut-in kits. So for those that are really looking for some big high horsepower handling speakers, this is really the series you're going to want to gravitate towards. And don't underpower these. We have shops that try to put 150 watts and wonder why don't they sound good, or they don't play loud enough, or having all these other issues with them, blowing woofers up. These speakers, when we say put power to them at 300 watts, do it, or even more in the 6x9 and the 8. Recently, the 6.5 went through a internal motor upgrade. From the outside, it doesn't look much different. But we improved the cone area by increasing the cone area. We retooled it up to 15% more. But really where the work was done is on the inside. We had an aluminum voice coil former and a flat wire spider, which gave us this power handling capability like one step further. So now you've got a couple extra features inside of it that are going to help handle that additional power you're putting to them. So these are shipping currently, the CHX 6.5.2 and 4, the versions you will start to see over the next, you have been for the last few weeks, but for the going forward, they're all brand new. So you might notice if you compare it to an old one that the cone's just slightly shaped a little differently, the surround's different. So make sure if you're doing warranties that you're matching those pairs. You'll be able to physically see that from the outside. So just to keep that in mind. So from there, components. If you're selling car stereo, you know, components are a great way to give you an overall different sound, maybe a different placement of speakers. So like in the car stereo world, we've got components. Starts with the mid-range. So we've got a 6x9, an 8, and a 6.5. It's the same shallow basket design you'll see in the CHX, but it's a carbon fiber cone only. So you have a 6x9, an 8, and a 6.5, sold in pairs, available in 2-ohm and 4-ohm. This is a great way to kind of mix and match. If you want to do a lower 6.5 to match a CHX coax up top, it's a similar sound signature. Obviously, same cosmetic appeal and performance, and it allows you to kind of buy and build a system around one category of speaker. Here's the tweeter options. Here's our standard our standard 3/4-inch ring radiator tweeter, the 075. This is kind of a staple in our line. You'll find this in several grill kits that we sell. They're available a la carte, and with the 1T. The 1T is our kind of a standard billet aluminum bullet tweeter, where it's got an adjustable ring, so you can flush mount it into a panel. A lot of guys put these in the gauges in the front fairing. So there's a direct fit for some of those bikes. And in some of those aftermarket lids, they fit in that slope there behind the 6 or the 8. And because of that, you see I'm calling out here the nanofram technology. We added that last year, and that is a screw-on cap that not only trims out the top of the tweeter, but it protects it from water. That screen can be pushed out. So if you want to see that tweeter, if you're a guy that's got a bike that doesn't get wet ever, and that's not an issue for you, you can simply just pop that center cap out. But for a rider, they're going to want that cap installed. Again, just prevents water from sitting inside that voice coil and waiting for it to dry out. So that was a feature we added last year. So new was this. It's a brand new, our 05T. Similar in the one where it has the ability to flush mount it with 2 different rings. You can adjust the mounting depth. We also included that waterproof cap. So it's got a very similar function like the R1, but this can also be surface mounted. As a removable mounting foot, you can surface mount it. There's a flange that goes over that hides the sides of it. So this gives us an opportunity to do 2 different ways to mount it. So that extra mount is included in the box. So you have some flexibility there. So these are brand new. This is the only tweeter that we make that does not have a replaceable diaphragm. So like the other ones before it, if you blow a tweeter, you can replace the diaphragm and send the customer on their way quickly. This doesn't. This is a replacement part completely. So here's kind of an extreme tweeter. So this, you guys probably have used these. This is a great accessory for those guys that are putting subs and mid-bass drivers in the bags. You guys know that on your mid-range or mid-bass drivers that are going to be in the lids, when you tie it with a sub, you've got a passive radiator effect. So in order to really combat that, this is a great solution. This is a 6x9 gigantic tweeter. I mean, here is the motor structure of that tweeter. So in its current form, it was shipped with this angle waveguide. What's coming are these. Let me just pop this up here real quick so you can see. You've got some flange options now. So you're going to be able to buy the motor separately, and you're going to be able to pick from several different flange options. This just happens to be the flat 6x9, and you've got some other options here: a 6.5-inch round, an 8-inch flange, and then the upper right corner. That was really done for guys that are going from a non-divided bag. When a guy comes back and says, "I want you to divide this bag, what are my options?" That other waveguide pushes that tweeter up inside our cut-in kit to give you the clearance so that this doesn't hit that bag divider any longer. So again, these will be available as an a la carte. You'll be able to buy those flanges in pairs, and then you'll buy the tweeter motors as matched pairs as well. So you can stock all the flanges in one pair of motors and really be able to kind of handle any application. For you guys that are doing like big SPL cars and you want just a 6x9 that'll fit in the rear deck of a car, here you go. It's a great way to do that. So bear with me, it's hot in here. Can you tell? Component kits. So we've taken that tweeter, our mid, and we've packaged it together. The goal with this kit is you have one solution that covers all bikes 14 to 23. So no matter who comes in the door, you have a grill and a tweeter option with a universal 6.5. It's one SKU available in 2 ohm and 4 ohm. You only need to stock whatever impedance you use the most, and now you've got some flexibility there. So you'll wind up with an extra street glide grill or potentially extra road glide grills, but you've got one SKU that tries to cover all bases there. So that is the CXK 65s. I bring this up so that everyone understands our part numbers a little bit. If you see a 14 in front of any of our part numbers, it's very specific why it's there. It designates the generation of bike that this kit's designed for. So in this case, this is not going to fit a 24. The grills are what designate that year. You'll see as we go further, you'll see some 24 products that are really designed for just the 24 products. So keep that in mind when you're looking at our SKU mix. 24 is new body style, 14 is 14 to 23. So here's why. Here's our 6x9 component system. Comes with a set of those tweeters, 6x9 mids, and a tweeter bridge to make it a component system that fits like this in the cut-in kit. So again, because there's no number in front, it does not come with a specific grill. So we're not packaging it with a 24 grill or a 14 grill. So this is more designed to be universal. So that's why there's a number in front of it. Amplifiers. So amplifiers, this DSP 600 was really kind of where we started. This amp's been around a couple of years. It's gone through some small life changes. Unfortunately, this year we're going to say goodbye to the DSP 600 as well, probably soon after the CX250. This series and style of amplifier is going to be replaced with some upcoming products in the FLX line. So this amplifier has got a lot of technology in it, but we've since added some new stuff with some new technology that really kind of makes these two amplifiers kind of obsolete. But in the short term, if you're a shop that's buying these amplifiers, and this is an amp that you say, listen, I use a ton of these, buy them now because we do have very limited inventory. And once they're gone, they're gone. So the unique proposition here with the DSP 600 is that it's a 6-channel integrated DSP and 150 watts by 4. The new replacement version will be exactly those same basic features with some added things. So you don't worry, we're not going to go backwards and give you an amp that has less features. We understand that this power per channel with an integrated DSP is important. Here's the software currently. You guys are familiar with this if you're using this product, so I'm not going to necessarily go over it, but this DSP screenshot is only available to be used with the DSP 600. And here's why. FLX. This has been a category for us that was really kind of uncharted. So, I designed this amplifier about a year and a half ago, and the shape is very unique. So we were selling an amp line 2 years ago that was a BDA series of amp, and it was great power. It just didn't quite fit in all the applications that we found that we needed. So we went back to the drawing board, and after several 3D prints and some blocks of wood and some duct tape, this overall shape was really born from that. And this was really designed to fit in a 14 to 23 road glide. So in a road glide, you've got some limited space there under the factory radio. So what we saw is that when you pull the radio out and off, you've got an asymmetrical interfering support. Well, without an air saw and having to cut and hack away all the steel there, these angles now allow us to slide this amplifier all the way up to behind the radio screen, allowing us to put up to a 2,000 watt 4-channel under the factory radio without cutting with our amp rack. So these are 60-degree angle and a 45. They were really designed, like I said, specifically for that road glide application. So, and it just gives us a way that fit more amplifiers and just kind of a less of a block look that we were dealing with before. So these are available in 7 different options, from our small 700.4 all the way up to our brand new, most recent 2500.1 monoblock. And the 2500 is the same chassis as the 1600 and the 2000. For those of you guys that do custom amp racks, all 3 of those amplifiers share the same footprint. So there's a little overview of the 704. It makes real power. There's a reason why we put a 4-gauge terminal on this amplifier. You can use 8-gauge. We recommend that if it's going to be in a 4-channel and 4-ohm load, 8-gauge is fine. You start to load this down bridged, it makes 900 watts potentially. And a 4-gauge is really better suited. So based on your application, just keep in mind that you want to make sure you use the appropriate size wire. Some of the improvements over the last generation were a brighter silk screen on the end plates, easier to see in those darker shops or in low light. And then again, we've upgraded the terminals to be 4-gauge power and ground. And the size of this amp is, it's 5x5. It's microscopic. So it's 2 inches tall, it's 5x5, makes a ton of power. You guys have been able to shove these, multiple of these in each fairing. So, okay, let me back up once. Accessories, very important. And we have here at Cicada an ecosystem we call of all these pieces designed to work together, plug and play. We don't want you to have to cut anything. We want to be able to put a whole system in a bike without having to use a saw or strip and solder in and scotch lock and duct tape, whatever it is you do at your place. But we have a complete line of accessories designed to plug and play. We want to make sure that the whole entire system works together with the right parts. This is just a small sample of some of the parts we have. And I brought a couple of them here so you can kind of see some of them. One of the things in the middle there, that C2C90, when you're using a DSP, how much of a pain in the ass is it to take the fairing off every time your customer says, can you make an adjustment? I blew a speaker. I want this changed. I don't like the way this sounds. Well, you don't want to take that fairing off every single time. So we've done this. We've got an extension cable. You plug into our DSP or our amplifier. It gives you a waterproof mount. And we include the correct data cable. We probably get, it's one of our most common calls here, is we get calls every day that says, I can't connect to communicate with your DSP. First question, what cable are you using? Most answered, my phone cable. They don't work. So we decided we are not going to make you chase and try to find and buy the correct data cable. A lot of you guys have these, but we give it to you. It's included in this kit. And then what we just added here, just probably in the last 2 months, is we added this 90-degree adapter. So we have found that in some applications, this extension is prohibitive on mounting an amplifier. These guys are breaking these off. They can't close the fairing because it's pushing against this, etc. So now in this kit, it's called the C2C90, we've added this. So now you have the ability to plug in here and then plug this into our DSP, our amplifier, giving us a flexible connection and a direct 90-degree bend there. So this gives us the ability to do that. So again, the C2C90 is now coming as a 3-piece kit. You'll start to see these. We're shipping them now. So as you guys order through, that's that full package. So amplifier installation kits, FLX. There's an FLX amplifier. You'll notice that the whole side of the amplifier is a barrier strip. It takes ferrules, it takes raw wire. So we've created this FLX Pro 4K. What this comes with is everything you see. It's got 4-gauge power and ground. It's Tech Flex with a waterproof fuse holder. We give you some accessory fuses because we don't know if you're going to use this kit with our 1400 or 1000 or 700, etc. So we give you some fuse opportunities there so you don't have to go and find and buy those. So just change the fuse according to whatever size amp you're using. It also comes with all of the connectors required to install it to the bike. Pre-terminated ferruled ends and 16-gauge speaker wire. So we've upgraded the wire on this kit so that the output current of the amplifier is not starving. So 16-gauge wire is important. So this kit comes with the rear speaker outputs. So it comes with your harness that runs down under the tank to the rear bags. If you're doing cut-ins, it comes with the plug-and-play connectors for your inputs and your outputs in the front pods. It's just a complete package there. So the Pro 4K, same design, same process. It's just smaller wire. So with the DSP 600 and that CX amp going away, we're going to change this kit a little bit, but essentially it's a 18-gauge speaker wire and an 8-gauge power wire. So a little less power handling, but really designed for this series of amplifier. Here's how you mount them. This is our Road Glide and Street Glide racks. We talked a little bit earlier about mounting these under the factory radio and why this angle was important. You'll see here, that's a 2,000 watt FLX amplifier mounted under the factory radio on a 17 Road Glide with no cutting. Using our amp rack, that amp rack is designed, if I back up one slide, you'll notice that there's some slots in there. And the slots are really for both generations of amplifiers, the DSP 600 and all the sizes of the FLX amplifiers, because we've got some that are 5-inch all the way up to 9. So that rack is universal, designed to be used with all of those. But in this case, it holds that 2000 perfectly. We've located the signal input towards the radio because we don't need the clearance here that we do on the power side. So this signal side is going to go up right behind the factory screen, so that when you mount it, you simply lift the radio up. You can tune from the driver's perspective, do all of your adjustments, see your clip indicators, do your crossover and gain adjustments without having to run around the fairing every single time. Because this is a least important end. This is going to be towards your factory headlight. So, because we didn't want you to have to this way and be looking under this way. So that's why it's mounted that specific way. And this rack says signal power, so you don't mount it backwards. We talk about accessories. What's the most important accessory? Probably, in some cases, the most overlooked. Batteries. Small amplifiers, AGM batteries are probably fine. We recommend that anything in the 1400 watt or greater really should have a lithium battery of some brand. This amp draws real power. Guys are going to come to you and say, hey, I have a new battery. My battery's fine. It starts the bike fine. It's no problem. So we already know that those answers and those pushbacks are going to come from they don't understand why they need it. You guys understand why they need it. You need to explain to them that, listen, you're going to be the last guy in the parking lot on a Friday night because you listened to your stereo for an hour and now the bike doesn't start. So make sure you guys are talking about batteries when it comes to high output amplifier. So we don't make batteries, but several brands do. So whatever you're carrying, I'm sure is fine. Talk a little bit more about DSP. Here's our current DSP format, 8 in and 8 out. This is going to be updated at the end of this year. You're going to see a new product coming from us. So again, this is our current DSP software. Gives you full system flexibility. We have the ability to do 8 inputs, although not really necessary in a bike, but 8 outputs is if you want to do a full active system, subs, fronts, lowers, spags, etc. You can do that with this. So we talked about all the different products we currently make and kind of how it all works, the accessories required, all the bits and pieces. One of the things that we've also done is we've taken all those pieces and we've put them in packages. Here's why we do that, is if you are new or newer to motorcycle audio, you may not want to have to deal with all of the nuances of what part do I order? Do I have it in stock? I don't do many bikes. I just want a solution that I can put on my shelf that kind of covers all the bases. So this is just a small example of all that we make, about 12 or so kits. This just kind of shows you the highlights of some of them. And the reason why you should consider them is it's a one box solution. They fit maybe specific price points for you and your customers. You've got like maybe a $999 up to a $3,000 package. And the advantage is you never have to worry about, did I not order the right something? Did I not order these? Is there a grill missing? Is it for a street glide? Is it for a road glide? These kits are universal, 14 to 23 all bikes. It comes with street glide amp racks, road glide amp racks, both sets of grills for the upper front fairings, comes with cut-in kits and the applications that use 6x9s, and it comes with all the appropriate harnesses to plug and play it all on the bike. But it also has the right impedance of speaker, so you've now got a matched system. You literally have to install it, tune it, ship it. It's never a 4 o'clock call to Davis going, I forgot to order this. This guy's coming to get the bike. Can I get it right now? How many times has that ever happened? I was in retail. It happens. So this allows you to have a one kit, kind of one-stop shop solution there. So, and you can kind of see on the right-hand side of those images, those are all the parts that are included. So they're fairly robust in the fact that we've included everything possible. So if you are missing something, it fell out of the box because it should have everything in there. So here's how you put 6x9s in. This cut-in kit's been a staple across our line from day one. It is a very common, simple grill replacement when you're cutting in. It's a two-piece design. It holds all of our 6x9s. And what we've done is we've said, we don't want to just give you a cut-in kit. We added some neat features. You'll see down there in this bottom center, it has like a lid cover. So these lid covers come in that box. So these are designed for the guy that stores his bike outside, is transporting it, etc. This just keeps a lot of that debris from falling down into that speaker. Although some of those speakers might be waterproof, you don't want an excessive amount of just garbage falling through that grill and just sitting on top of that speaker, especially if it's loose debris, because the only way to get it out is either shake the lid upside down or in some cases unbolt the whole speaker. So these are just a nice way to protect that. Covers the lids. We also include the hinge strap. And the hinge strap's unique is that it has a pocket and a pouch stitched in the back of it. It's designed for crossovers that are used with our coax systems. So you don't have to worry about trying to hide and double stick tape it inside the bag. It fits right inside behind the hinge strap there, allowing you to kind of tuck it away. It's safe, and it just gets rid of all the extra wiring there. It's just a nice cleaner look. So those two features are included with that lid kit. Base. It's a big deal. Base is everywhere. I see more bikes today with subwoofers in the bags than I did ever in the last 3 years. So we've got some base solutions. We've got an 8-inch and a 10-inch. Sold singly, 4-ohm only, ferrite motor, carbon cone, good power handling at 600 and 800 watt RMS. These are a great way to add some low-end base reinforcement to the bags. And we've got full complete cut-in kits that allow you to do that. When you're adding this subwoofer mid-bass driver to the bag and you have that 6x9, you're going to need some baffles. You see here, I've got a hard divider and a mid-only woofer with a tweeter bridge. This is a silicone, large, oversized one. It's designed to work with our 8s. The back pressure of an 8 isn't as great, so we don't need to do a solid hard divider. That 8-inch silicone, that silicone baffle is great. It is a great opportunity to protect that speaker from turning this into a passive radiator. From there, we go to hard dividers. So hard dividers come in 4 flavors. We've got a shallow mount when we're using a mid only, which is the MHD called out there. Then we've got an oversized one, which is this, which is for the CHX and the CH coaxes. Those CHXs have a huge Neo motor on the back, so that will fit inside this other bucket. 8-inch and 6.5-inch as well for all those other applications. If you've got an 8-inch aftermarket lid and you're putting an 8-inch driver in it, you're going to need to protect that speaker. Some of the cool features that we've added, I call it out here on this. We give you 2 different waterproof grommets because we don't know if you're doing a coax or a component. If you're just doing a mid only, you're only going to have 1 wire going in here. So if you're doing a coax with a crossover, you're going to have 2. It comes with 2 different size grommets so that the wire's tight. It also has like a pressure release valve. Because what happens is when you're driving that speaker at high volume, the Neo motor is getting hot. So we're getting a heat buildup inside of this baffle, which of heat saturation changes the way the speaker performs. So we want to be able to kind of let some of that heat escape. So there is a pressure release valve that's built into these hard dividers. It's on all 4 of those models. So just some neat features to talk about there. Also, for your novice tuners and your expert tuners, I'll just kind of give a blanket statement. If you're putting hard dividers on any speaker, you cannot cross them over at 80. Can't do it. Crossover points need to be increased. It'll vary on the speaker, 150 to 200, sometimes maybe a little higher, and depending on the size. So make sure that you're not trying to get bass out of a 6x9 in a bucket when you've added that 10. They don't like it. They're not going to play that low anyway in that small sealed environment. So make sure that when you're tuning, you've kind of taken into consideration those crossover changes that will need to be made on the DSP. So, and here's how we add subs. A year and a half ago, we came out with this cut-in kit. It was kind of a first of its kind in the fact that it was just like a cut-in style similar to a lid cut-in kit. You know, we didn't invent the category, we just made it a little easier to do. So we've got our spin on the fact that you don't need to bond it, glue it, it simply mounts. You can install it in a few hours and send the customer on their way in half a day potentially. We've also made it so that the template allows you to locate where that ring fits in all of the bolt holes, as well as a port. So with that template, it fits right on the inside of the bag. You can drill and mark all of your locations, cut through, takes all the guesswork essentially out of installing something like this. Again, for you novice guys, sometimes this type of a big hole in the bag is scary. We've taken all the kind of the scare tactic out of it. So for you pro guys, you're used to cutting these rings in and you've got your own ways and your own applications. We just try to take a little bit of the time away from you. So it just makes this fast. It allows you to locate the stainless steel brace as well. So you've got all of your holes drilled and it just becomes an assembly process. Very simple. We have 3-inch ports available. You'll notice that this says new for 25. That other flange with another hole in it is designed for our wire management system for the 24s. When you're buying this kit, make sure that if you buy it for a 14, you buy all the 14 parts. Don't buy a 24 port in a 24 cut-in template because it won't work with a 14 ring. So make sure that you're matching all of the accessories. What's included in the ring kit: stainless steel brace, hinge strap, all the mounting hardware, grills, gaskets, everything that you need. The ports are sold separately. The template kit is sold separately. It's designed to be reused. So if you cut through it like a cut-in kit, like you're used to, like this, these are disposable. That is a heavier gauge plastic, and they're designed to be used as a tool, so you can reuse them. So you just draw it, drill it, and jigsaw it out, etc. So they're sold separately. Here's just kind of an example of what it looks like. You see the port mounted there, the use of the bag brace, how the woofer kind of fits. You also see the hard divider and kind of how all that fits together. So when we design something like this, we have to take into consideration that we make a full line of accessories. So all of these pieces need to work together so that the lid closes. This application doesn't lend itself to being a divided bag, but with this bag brace and some additional sound damping material, you can get a really great result and get your customer the performance that they're looking for out of a sub. So complete solutions. We introduced an 8-inch replacement lid. These are available in both raw, unfinished, unpainted black plastic or vivid black. Both options are available, and it's probably one of the most complete lid kit options out there. Comes with a hard divider, comes with a set of billet grills, comes with the hinge strap. It comes with, in the box, the rear speaker harness. So in this box, if you have a customer that just says, I want to add 8s to my lids, what do you got? You buy one solution and wire it to the bike. You don't have to buy and source any other bits and pieces. It's complete. It's all in one box. You can paint them. If you get vivid black, they can be painted. We offer them in raw, a little cheaper if you're going to paint them anyway. So, and so that brings us kind of to the next solution. We've packaged now that ring, the port, and the 8-inch lid all as one system. So again, if you're a production-based shop and say, listen, I don't want to screw around with this for 2 days. I want to simply put speakers in it and send the guy on his way. Here's an opportunity to do that. This complete bag solution comes with everything done. Sound damping applied, rings cut, ports cut, everything's done. You just need to add speakers. It's pre-wired, comes with the accessory to run forward with our waterproof connector. Simply put speakers on it, put it on the bike, send him on his way. The cool thing is with both the 8-inch and our 6x9 options is that if you've got somebody that's got custom paint and says, I don't want to cut up these bags, the paint's $1 million, I simply want to add a base for when I go out with my buddies on the weekends, they can unbolt these, put the stock bag back on, just tuck away the wire. So it gives them an opportunity to not have to cut up their original bags or their lids for that matter. So it's a way just for them to swap it. It's a very quick thing to do. So these are available and in stock, and they're currently on a special this month. So if this is something that has of interest to you, talk to your rep there locally in your market and ask them about this current program that's on both of these solutions. So it's pretty aggressive. So typically when I do these, we've got a live audience. I ask a little more questions, try to do a little more interaction. Virtually, it's a little tougher. So I would say by a show of hands, how many people are working on 24s? Everyone, yay, me. So here's some 24, 23 plus, 23 and a half plus solutions. Component kits. These kits are coming. We had a first generation of these grills come with tweeters preloaded and tweeters unloaded. This is the 24 Road Glide replacement branded grill. That package comes with the larger 075 tweeter pre-installed in it. Comes as a complete component system. The same 6.5 in the prior generations, but with a very specific 24 Road Glide grill. These are available in Street Glide and Road Glide as replacements. Road Glide has the larger tweeter in it because there's a little more real estate here. So again, you notice the part number, the 24, only for 24s. Specifically, what we've done this year is the RG is for Road Glide because the Street Glide grill is quite a bit smaller. I have this component system on my bike. So what we did with the Road Glide versus the Street Glide is we've used this 05 tweeter on the Street Glide version. I think it looks a little better. It's a little smaller in the grill, doesn't have that large footprint there. So this kit is specific for a Street Glide, why there's an SG. Same woofer, but Street Glide specific with this tweeter installed. You can see there it's mounted without the nano frame insert in the ring there. So these packages are being built. We should see them here, I'm hoping, in the next 30 to 45 days as complete packages. The a la carte pieces will be trickling in as well. So you don't have to buy the component. You can buy just the grills if you want, or just the tweeters if you want, etc. So like the other system, there was no part number that said 14 in it. Why does this one say 24? Because our cut-in kits for 24s are top load. We'll show you that in a minute. But because this tweeter bridge is very specific to that 24, it's a shallower design because we need to clear the grill, where the non-14 is a little taller. So this is specific for the 24. It allows you to stack up this in the 24 cut-in kit and clear the grill, as you can see here. So it winds up clearing this grill nicely in there. So that's why there's a 24 in the front half of that. So here's the 3 versions we talked about. Road Glide grill, plain, loaded with tweeter, and then they also come pre-punched. So if you have that tweeter in stock and you say, I just need to buy the grills, you can buy them a la carte. Those are the 3 versions. They will also be available in Street Glide the same way. Non-punch, punched, and installed with the tweeter. So you'll get to use it either way. Bag solutions. We wanted to carry this through to the 24s. You see how that port flange mounts there? This port flange will work with the CVO. The CVO connector that's already pre-installed in those bags will transfer to that upper quick disconnect slot. So you simply take the factory one out, push it and lock it into this one, and you still maintain that factory CVO connector. And this also covers that larger hole where those CVO holes are from the factory. In a non-CVO bag, you don't have to worry about covering it, but this port's universal. It also allows us to integrate the ring. It's very tight there with this new style of bag on the back. So this is designed to work together. And again, gives you that port output with the debris mesh in there and the factory connector there. We will have available a rear harness that will dock into that for the non-CVO bags. So if you're simply putting this on a standard road glide or street glide, you can still utilize that wire to dock there. So these are only going to be available in a 6x9, not an 8 currently, in vivid black. Cut-in kits. This was a long time coming this year. And, again, you've probably heard me talk about our ecosystem of parts. Because we have subs and ports and all the things in a bag, they all have to really work together. And the reason for this delay was we had to make sure that all these bits and pieces would fit together and live within that small bag opening. So here we have our 24 cut-in kit. It is a top mount design. So you simply cut the hole using the template, standard on all the lid kits. You've got your backer plate. This goes on the inside of the lid. You've got your top plate, slides through and squeezes the lid. It's got a foam gasket here to prevent water. You're going to cut off that factory lid strap mount. One of them is going to come off that's attached to the lid. That's like step one in the install guide. We've incorporated it back into our inner, the inside. So you'll get to keep that. It comes right back, and there's hardware that comes with all that. So that retains the factory hinge strap mount. So once you've got this mounted, you're going to load your speaker in from the top. And this snaps on, almost stays without screws. So now you've got this snapped onto the top of the lid, and it screws in once you open the lid through that inner frame into this grill. So you wind up kind of triple squeezing between the inner and outer, and then the grill really holds to the lid. So you're not going to have any issues with carrying the load of a larger 6x9, etc. So, but this is the 24 cut-in kit. Installation directions are pretty thorough. We've gotten some great feedback on these, so we hope that you guys continue to give us feedback and utilize them. So just some kind of neat new things for 24, and not specifically 24. Bag amp racks. This system is designed that if you run out of room in the fairing, I need to put more amps on my bike, I need more power, I need more bass. This is a unique mounting solution that allows you to mount an amplifier inside the rear half of the bag. So essentially you wind up with this type of a mount. It comes with 3 mounting feet. There's one already attached here, but it comes with 3. The reason why 3, this is designed for one generation of bag, because left and right is the same flat surface. This is, I believe, for the 24. 14 to 23 has a specific left and right. So these can't be interchanged. So we give you both feet options. So you can install 2 of these and put 2 monoblock amps in one in each bag. Or if it's on a Road King, 4 channel in one, mono on the other. So you get all the feet and the mounting options. So this, again, double stick tape on the inner wall of the back of the bag, bolts to the bottom of the bag with supplied hardware. Then once this is mounted, you have a carrier. Amp mounts to the carrier. Why this is because how many times have you mounted an amp on the inside of a bag and you've had to peel it off when the amp either has an issue, the guy gets an upgrade, you need to service it, whatever. we have a carrier system that allows you to remove this amplifier without having to peel it off. It's rubber grommets, it's not loose. It has a set screw in the top. So once you set this screw in, this isn't going anywhere. It comes with provided 3M double stick tape and an alcohol pad, and it's bolted. So it's a solid amp solution, a mounting solution for those bikes. Road glides, street glides, road kings, anything that uses that stock hard plastic bag. This fits in all those bikes and all those generations. So the flat plate there, kind of a universal mounting plate for road glide, requires some modification to the interfering support. That allows you to kind of flexibly put whatever amplifiers that fit there. There is a new version coming. It's a little larger, gives us a little more depth. We'll probably have those in about 60 days. I don't have a picture of it yet, but it's our larger dual amp rack solution for road glide. So street glide one is coming probably close to the end of the year. It's going to require a little more cutting and some modifications to the bike, but it potentially can hold 2 large amplifiers and then with a optional tray for a 3rd amplifier. So you'll have some options. Here's some of those accessories. A little bit earlier, we talked about kind of universal amp install. These are more specific to the 24. Again, if you're not familiar with the 24s, this is a P&A connector. It's power grounded ignition, plugs in at the factory connector under the seat. There's just a rubber grommet over the factory one. You pop the grommet off, this plugs in. This is a great way for you to add lighting, accessories, remote turn on for our amplifiers. If you're not using like an A to B solution, it just gives us a nice accessory harness for really anything. Plugs in at 6 feet, tech flexed. That's available. That is the 24 HDPA. From there, there's a heated gear plug under the seat. We have this option as well. It's just power and ground, plugs into the heated gear plug, lets them keep their heated gear plug. So it's just a Y harness. So this is just low current. Again, LEDs. Sometimes guys are doing hardwired garage door opener kits, etc. Just a nice accessory cable to have. Then, we're almost done here, guys. If you're not familiar, all 24 road glide and street glides, non-CVO or ST, will have the bike will be pre-wired for rear speakers up to a point. From the output of the factory amplifier, it runs all the way down into the seat, and at the taillight harness, it just kind of disappears. So this T harness allows us to pick up our rear speaker wires and give us the breakouts with quick disconnects to the bags. Comes with the extensions, so you can plug in here and run those wires into your bags for your 6x9s. It also comes with an extension that will allow you to unplug behind the headlight in a road glide, and in the front fairing on the street glide, this will plug in. So you can wire to our amplifier and plug right in. Excuse me. And there'll be no cutting to the bike at all that way. So again, maintains the factory factory really warranty is what we're really concerned about. You know, guys don't like their bikes cut up. This just is a nice way to plug and play that rear speaker solution. So these are just some of the kind of the 24 bag options we have and the 24 bike solutions we have for accessories. Last but not least, some new things. About a month ago, we debuted this. This is the new CMV10 Neo. You can see it's fairly light. I mean, I'm not the strongest guy in the world, but this 8.5 pounds. This kind of changed the game when it came to weight. The ferrite motors are a great performer. They're at 20 pounds. This is 8.85. So we've shaved off about 50% of the weight. And with the same performance, same build quality in the front, carbon cone, butyl surround, same frame, but with that Neo motor and this heat sink, we shaved off all the weight. These are available today. These are shipping. These work with all of our 24 ring cutting kits, 14 ring cutting kits, and all the accessories that we currently make. So, um, 6x9 coming soon is going to be it's really a CMB 69, and it's a new 6x9 mid-base driver, not a coax and not a mid-range. This is going to be a ferrite motor, cast aluminum frame. It's designed to add to our cut-in kits and those applications where your customer doesn't want the 10 or a large 8 to take up the bag and simply wants a little more base than a standard 6x9 coax or mid-range can produce. These will be coming. I'm hoping we'll have these here again before the end of the year. Look for these. There'll be some pre-order options available once I know when they'll be here. And this will be a great way to add that little bit extra bass response for those guys and say, I don't really care about subs and I don't really want to add big power to drive them. So it will also work with the tweeter bridge. So if they come back to you and say, I'm really missing the sizzle from a tweeter in the back, you can add this accessory right to the top of it. So they're not giving up that option either, but they don't have to start here. So this is just going to be an add-on accessory for them. Again, live video or live room, I would say any questions? People raise their hands. If you have questions, Robert, is there an opportunity to answer questions?
If anybody wants to unmute and ask a question, please feel free to do that. We do have one question already
in the queue,
in the chat box, asking if you have or you're going to have anything for the Rockford bypass and that Rockford amplifier bypass solution.
For the 24s, like the A to B solution?
Yeah, I think that's what they're asking about. Yeah.
Okay. So we currently do not have an opportunity or an available option for A to B bypass.
Just so you know, we have a couple of solutions at Davis as well. If you just want to talk to your sales rep tomorrow,
Right.
They should be able to help you with that.
So this is the solution we currently we have used, and it allows you to pull that factory amp out of the bike. So simple. Anything else?
Another one just popped in. Will there be a version 2 cut-in kit coming for 24 plus? Something that has a flush grill and maybe more of the style of the Cicada OEM grills.
Yes. So this is a direct replacement for those CVOs. So we have these available too. So if you're doing a CVO bike that has a current set of Rockford grills or another branded grill, we have these available. It kind of maintains that Cicada family mesh and look with brand. That's an option, direct replacement. But to answer your question as to a new or different version of this kit, we are looking at potentially a smaller footprint that may not work with subs, but it'll just give us a smaller footprint for those that are never going to add subs anyway. So we're just kind of looking at some other options, but I can't promise you what the ETA or kind of what that project will turn into at this point. So this grill's pretty flush, but we have had some questions about that going in the last few weeks. So we're kind of looking at some different options. Anything else?
When are the extended bags for the 14s coming out?
We're expecting extended bag solutions here in the next few weeks. It'll be essentially the same as the other solutions I showed you earlier in the slide stack. It'll simply just be an extended version and available in Vivid Black only. They'll be available in an 8-inch and a 6x9, but an extended outside edge. They'll be coming here very shortly.
Very good. And that it looks like that's all of them for now. If anybody else thinks of anything else, just get with your Davis sales rep tomorrow, and we'll get with Marty and get any other questions answered if it comes up after the meeting. But I really just want to thank everybody. What a great turnout we had tonight. Really appreciate everyone getting on. I know it's late, but there's just so much to learn from Cicada, and they continue to come out with new, exciting products. It seems like every month. So, but thank you, Marty, very much. You did one hell of a job. That was a great training,
guys. Sorry for the
really
cough.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great night.
Yep.
Thanks.
Have a good evening.
Okay.